Welcome to Monday's vlog. What's up, guys? I hope you had a great weekend. We got hit by a bit of a storm, but I think it was way lighter than what they thought we were going to get hit by. It was like thin layer of ice and just kind of 8 inches of snow. But then we drove on it in the driveway, so everything was compact and it kind of made it a pain. That's on me though. What I want to talk to you guys about today was working with existing wiring and how to pre-plan to make the end result as smooth as possible. Because really, if you don't, it could get messy really fast. So let's go ahead, talk about that. So I had a thought. I want to change this light out. It's not doing anything, it's useless, and it looks like a nipple. Like legitimately, and I'll show you here. Nipple. So I'm thinking put something like this up where I can adjust the lights and where they shoot and where they hit. And that'll maybe make my life easier, because last week I was moving lights all over the place just to get the right shot and adjusting my camera settings non-stop, it felt like. And I was setting up for the electrical shot for doing the wires, and I was having the same issue. And then I looked up and I was like, oh yeah, you know, you have one of these in the garage, so just use it. So we're going to. Let's do it. All right, so we got the light off. It's all down. You got your black, your white, and your ground, which is bouncing around there. That's just the bare copper. And you want to make sure all those get re-hooked up with your new light. If you can see up here, you got a black, a white, and then your ground. Look at all that light. Fix the problem. That's great. Sweet. All right, so pretty basic. Black to black, white to white. Make sure you use wire nuts or something equivalent to. It's called a wire nut because at the tip of this, there is a threaded nut that twists all your wires together. Make sure they don't pop loose and blow a breaker or start a fire, or, you know, whatever other things do that electrical stuff does. I don't know. Just do it. Just use them. That's about it. Let's get to wiring. Okay, let's go over what I'm going to use on this project really fast. Miscellaneous bag full of miscellaneous parts that I tend to need when I do electrical stuff. Wire nuts, clamps, stuff like that. Wire strips, wire snips, electrical tape. Always good to tape off live wires that might come back on. If you turn your power on, you need it back on, you can always tape over it after you snip it. Screwdriver, drill if you want to go faster. Obviously you need some kind of tester to make sure your power's off, and a knife. But really, none of this is gonna save you any time if you don't use tape and a Sharpie. Most essential thing you need for this project. So you might be saying to yourself, why tape and a Sharpie? Why is that the necessity outside of everything else? Well, this stuff will save you time. That stuff will help you get the job done, but this will save you more time than those will, because you can use other tools than most of that stuff. I mean, screwdriver's kind of a necessity, at least, but these, and I'll tell you why. I can't tell you how many jobs I've walked into where somebody's done the demo for me, whether it be the client, another contractor, and there's just wires hanging down. Not attached to any outlets, not attached to any switches, not attached to any lights. So you have all these wires just dangling down. What are you supposed to do with that? Well, what you have to do with that is figure out where they all go and what they all go to, which could go anywhere from 2 to 4 hours of your day. So this is what I've learned to use because I've put myself in dumb predicaments. But you just tape it before you take it out of an outlet. If it's an outlet, you tape around the right outlet. You write what breaker it's on, breaker 8. That way you know. Same thing with lights, switches, all that stuff, GFCI. Plus, if your breaker's labeled wrong, which like 50% of the time they are, you can just cut a piece of tape off, put it over that, and then write correctly what it is. So yeah, learn from my mistake. Always tape first. Prep for an hour, save yourself 3. Let's do it. Another tip for you guys, when you do it, invite a friend over to go down to your breaker box and hit the switches. Because like I said, 50% of the time, 50% of the box is marked wrong. With me right now, I have 7 labeled lights and receptacles. No room underneath them, so they could go to anywhere in this house. Kind of makes it a long process when you're running up and down the stairs trying to figure out which one is so you can mark the stuff. So invite somebody over to do that. Go down to the breakers, do the boring stuff, save your legs. Yeah. But if you don't have friends, or friends that are available, like I have friends, I'm just doing this by myself right now. I do. But there's a faster way you can blow this breaker. Okay, so the faster way of doing it, if you're doing it by yourself and you don't have somebody run down to your breaker box to figure it out, is you clip off a piece of wire. You got your black, your white. You don't use your ground for this. That would be silly. You would shock the crap out of yourself. You go to your outlet, and by the way, this most likely is gonna ruin your outlet. It's $1 at Lowe's, Home Depot, something like that, maybe $1.50 or something. But you'll go in, you'll strip either side of your wire, just get the tips nice, just not a lot. You still want something to hold on to. You're gonna go to outlet, and you're gonna put it right inside there. That's gonna pop the breaker down below because you just blew it. And you know, some people have told me that you could ruin a breaker that way too. It's never happened to me. And this is what I do when I'm on my own and I just need to get it done, figure out where it's at, and I don't want to walk down the stairs for the 15th time. So it works. If you want to use it, you can. There might be a risk. It's not gonna blow up, you're not gonna die, I know that. I've been doing it enough. All right, so yeah, that's a trick. Cool trick for friendless people. All right, so now we got this bundle marked up, we got the power off on them, and I'll just let you take a look at kind of what the label looks like. So when I'm done, it looks like this. BR, breaker 17, power in, dining room light. And you just fold that around, that way you have that info on that wire. The other thing is a lot of people try to write it directly on the wire, and there's nothing wrong with that. It tends to smudge when you use Sharpie. Maybe some people have luck, but the other thing is if you're pulling wires, it gets hard to find that marking on it, especially if you're working with somebody else and snipping wires and stuff. They might cut that part off and then it's mislabeled. So the green, it's bright enough to be seen even from the distance. Like, you're not going to be taking a wire looking around for some label that somebody put on the conduit. So with that said, now all we got to do is take these bad boys, take our wire snips, cut the boxes off. So do that, get these all cleared up and pull back through, and pull probably back downstairs. All right, and then after you get them all cut off, you're all labeled, just take your electric tape, go over the end. That'll just keep it safe for whatever prolonged period you're not using this. For us, we still have to figure out a floor plan for our kitchen. So the main thing is I just want to get these wires to the exterior walls because there's not going to be anything in the middle here for them to go through. So I'm going to pull them up, get them all taped off, and tomorrow we're going to be tearing down ceiling and walls to see where all the rest of them go. And that's it for prep. So you just roll everything up, put it in the ceiling or high somewhere on a wall away from pets, children, sleepwalking, zombies, and that does it. Just making sure that you test before you cut, you figure out what breaker it is, you label breaker number, what room it's to, whether it's an outlet or a light, whether it's power in or power out. You make it as descriptive as possible because down the road when you're recreating your roadmap for redoing your wiring, you don't want to be sitting there looking at a bunch of wires, not knowing where they used to go, or what was on one breaker and not on one breaker, or end a project because you put too much on another breaker and then you constantly have problems with it. So that's the other thing too. After you get the power back on, you can test to see exactly how much was on each breaker, and that's always good too, because maybe it was already overpowered, maybe there was too many outlets on it, and maybe you need to put in another breaker box of some sort. So it's always smart to label first. I know it takes some time, but it saves a lot down when you start finishing your wiring. Everything goes a lot smoother because you know exactly where you need to go with it. With that said, let's end this vlog. All right, so this one went a little longer than I wanted it to, so I'm gonna make this really quick. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that came into the YouTube page this weekend. They liked, they subscribed, they commented, and they even viewed. Appreciate every single one of you. And with that said, I will see you all tomorrow.